And I believe, as Washington stated, people need to see their leaders and they need to know that they have experienced what they need to see and that they've walked in the same pathways. I think that's really crucial and an important thing. But ultimately, all of these leaders have to do what they think is right and what they feel is the best for their era, their time, but also for their personality as a leader. And I think that's a good lead into Teddy Roosevelt and talking about, how he transformed the presidency and why he did the things that he did. Certainly a maverick, certainly different, certainly had a boisterous personality, and in many ways, his presidency represents that personality.
It's an amazing story. So when he became the police commissioner of New York, the first day the commissioner was on Mulberry Street, and so he comes to the base of it. And he runs up the steps at the fastest possible pace, and he's always moving at 100 miles an hour. And he says, "What should we do first? What do we want to do here? What are the things that need to be done? Tell me. Let's start doing some things." And so he's like champing at the bit always. And it was inevitable almost that he was going to become the 26th president of the United States, or president at some point. And so when he did, he said, "What are we going to do?" And he stepped back, and I think this is what makes him a great man, and said, where is America in 1900? And what are the problems that still need to be resolved? And how can we make it a more perfect union? And what's our place in the world? And are we denuding our natural resources? And what are we going to do about the recent immigrants who don't speak English and they're living in squalor? And how are we going to solve the problem of the few and the many with respect to the economy? And what should we do with these giant corporations that have sprung up since the Civil War and could not have been anticipated by the Constitution makers? And what are we going to do about Native Americans? Now that we've placed them on reservations and so on. So he stepped back, and he was a great intellectual. He was arguably the greatest intellectual of any president, and that's some pretty rare company. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, John Quincy Adams. And he had ideas, of course, because he's Theodore Roosevelt. The thing is, he also realized, our constitutional system doesn't really favor a strong executive. And he said, who cares? I'm going to be a strong executive. And he famously said, the Constitution exists for the people, not the other way around. And he contrasted himself with Jefferson. Jefferson believed that the president and government should not do anything that was not enumerated in the Constitution. That would have been a terrible straitjacket to stay in. Roosevelt's view was, I can do anything that's not explicitly forbidden by the Constitution. So he blew the doors off of the national government, the concept of the national government, and of the presidency, and he created essentially the monarchical executive that we have had, and some more, some less, ever since. But his view was, things need to be done. This is a great country. I'm not going to let the Constitution get in the way of the things that we need to do as a great nation.